animals and save the money, along with so many other things. I'm not going into that. And the experiment was very good. It went on well. But unfortunately, the sustainability is a big issue. From where what we learned in general was, see, we look at agriculture. In agriculture, wherever there is a market economy involved in which the farmers or the rural people want information on day-to-day changes in what is happening in the market, it has got a value in ICT. Let it be SMS or let it be mobile phone or let it be information kiosk. Let us talk about a standalone section of, even with variability in the contents that we are putting it in ICTs, a section of this sort, like livestock, where in which there is not much of a market fluctuation in the field, the people are not much interested. Only they are interested when it affects their life and they go into the hospital, they look into the information, collect information, and that too helps. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But my feeling is, see, there was around 2000, it was a good entry of ICTs into the sector. But around 2006, 2007, if you look at into the involvement of ICTs, it was for the, I don't know, I have a feeling that for the sake of ICTs, people started to look into what could ICTs do in the rural sector, rather than what rural sector want from ICTs. There's a difference in both, I think. Both has got its own advantages. Like, I don't deny on research angle or on the reachability angle. But as far as ICTs are concerned, as far as rural areas are concerned, it definitely depends upon the need of the people. Especially in Kerala, if you look at back in Kerala, for the panchayats, the decentralized administrative unit in the village, it's very much connected through this ICTs. For example, if you want a birth certificate, a very simple thing, which involves a lot of problems, especially when the poor go to, need not be the poor, even ordinary people going itself to get a certificate goes through a lot of process. And if this is there in which they can put their name and they get the certificate there itself, definitely the people will use. And ICT of academic interest, probably I'm not quite sure how far it will penetrate into this. So sustainability is the key word, what I feel. Whatever that we are doing, is it going to be sustained? Is it going to be taken on? Because I'll give you another example also. The same touchscreen kiosk which we developed based on the needs of the farmers, with a lot of stakeholder workshops, and identified what content should go inside, and we developed it and kept it in the veterinary hospital. When the animal husbandry department wanted to take this research finding, they took it, but they added lots of information of the government into it, which means a person will get lost if he enters into that. But they say that they want to put their notifications, their all those things. They feel that it's their machine of passing on information and things. So their relevance, validity, facilitation, I think lots of things should be looked into. That's my experience in a brief manner. Thank you.
I'd just like to reply to that, and actually a question as well. So sustainability and the situations or the stories that you just told. Do you think prototyping would help in that situation? Because that was actually one of our questions that we started off with. Through prototyping, find out what is actually needed in order to design innovation in the right way, so that people's needs are really addressed.
I feel people's needs are the fundamental starting point. Because see, I personally feel that there are a lot of things actually which we could do. There was another experiment which we did again on technology-enabled audio system in which could be used by women's self-help groups in southern states of India, the 4 states in which we worked with NIRD, Bangalore University, lots of. See, the idea was quite simple. When we were working with the women's self-help groups in remote areas, for example, Northeast, there are so many areas in which women cannot go and get some information on health, for example. One of the things they were wanting was, can we have a simple advice from a good doctor when we have some ailments? It can be from anywhere. And that's where we thought about an audio system in which we gave a simple mobile phone. This was 5 years back. Mobile phone to a doctor who was more than willing to talk to this person at his or her leisure time. And the group used to sit in a place, and we devised a design in which actually the whole group can hear what this person is saying. And each one can ask questions separately, like a microphone given to them. And this it was going on nicely. That was based on the need. And actually, when the doctor says that when the lady, a poor lady who cannot walk into and get some advice from a doctor in the village, ask a question, actually I have got ailment in my knee, or my daughter has this issue. she gets professional advice from a center from Delhi or from a district center. That is fine. And advises, okay, this is what you should be doing. May not be the medicine, but definitely it adds to it. It's a need-based work. I think the sectors which are working in, like for example agricultural health or this one, they should be coming out with their needs. And I think the ICTs on the other side should be looking into where there is a prospect of sustaining and transferring it properly. Actually, these should match. That's what I feel.
Good afternoon. I am Durga Prasad. I am coordinator of Honeybee of Andhra Pradesh. I come from rural area. These ICTs and all, what I feel that it will be successful if they are need-based or the people who want that to be benefited, it should be planned in that way. Unfortunately, most of the things being planned either at the state capital or at the central capital, where people do not have any idea. So the necessary information is not useful to the beneficiaries, that is in the rural areas. Like what the doctor was telling, in Andhra Pradesh, now one of the big business for the most of the hospitals is to have a free medical checkup camps. They spend around 20-25%, a couple of lakhs, to organize in a village. So they say that it is a free medical camp, they come there, they have the facility, then they say you have to come for further checkups and all. This is being happened. So what is need-based, what is the crop-based, if that exercise is not being done? And recently in our state we have started one called Me Seva, where they get all the certificates, everything in a proper time. It has to take place. But most of the places where the agriculture is involved, like cotton, we come from a cotton belt. They say that you get the price. This year when it was selling at 3,500 rupees, like yesterday evening, today farmer went to the yard, he could not get even 2,000 rupees. They say you should have called. It is not a call and a disconnect. It is a question of loading, getting the tractor on high, loading it, manpower, traveling around 30-40 kilometers. This, I do not know why the people are not aware of. It will take a couple of hours for him to load, get this material and all. So, whatever this ICTs and all, the names, terminology, everything is very attractive, but it is not helping for the most of the rural people. So everybody now going, chatting, all other things, but real useful in the villages, no. And as far as self-help groups are concerned, it is the money circulation. What is the utility? If there is a calculation by any of the bankers, honestly, they say that no sir, because we have given this group starting because there is a mandate that we have to give 10,000 rupees to that group, they have given 10,000 rupees. At the end of the time, everybody will give 10,000, then it will be hiked to 20,000. Then there are groups in Andhra Pradesh where they get around 13 to 14 lakhs rupees. What is that they are doing? All 14 people will share 1 lakh, do some business and pay and take it. Only one day. You pay it today evening, tomorrow morning you drop. You increase that. But none of the policy makers are evaluating what is the benefit out of it. How much benefit it has come. That evaluation is not there. And the government is very happy to close down that policy so that there will be no further evaluation. So it is very simple. We are closing this scheme, we are coming up with a new scheme. This is the thing what's happening in our state.
I didn't get a chance to. Let me just understand a little picture from this. What so you have said is that top-down approach as policies from government, when government decides policies and they are thrown to the people, it doesn't help. And we have to understand need of people and then we have to formulate appropriate policies. But of course, which will be true, if I come to the agenda item, the agenda says that we don't want to go vertical. Now it may mean vertical down and vertical up, but possibly what we want is moving lateral. So maybe Professor Gupta can also maybe throw light on this. So I don't want probably maybe a situation where I have a question and a government official is supposed to answer. Those kind of systems are important probably in some context, but the context which we are debating about is I have a question and someone like me somewhere else has answer to that question, and therefore such lateral sharing of information takes place. Probably that is what would help us in the society. So I just I want to maybe bring the importance of this lateral movement of knowledge also or information also into this perspective. One important point that was raised was about infrastructure, new and existing infrastructure. Now, my experience may be little different, but what I feel is that many times such innovations or maybe such kind of practices or such kind of movements, they are well ahead of what companies or what people are observing and experiencing in corporates. That's what is my understanding. Means when I say corporates, exchange or sharing of knowledge or innovation, it is not that advanced in public limited or private limited companies than what we see in society many times. For example, if I have a question, someone else maybe answer that question, okay, if someone has an answer, and maybe as we say that from movement from idea to prototype, development of products and programs and disseminations, I have really seen such kind of practices even in corporate sector, at least in India. They have knowledge management practices, but knowledge management practices many times are limited to I would suggest something and someone else will appreciate and maybe implement. But many times such exchange of relay batons have to happen at multiple places. Those kind of exchanges, are they happening somewhere or not? That's the question. And therefore, technology-wise also many times the requirement which we have is far more than what corporates have developed. That's what is my observation, my limited experience there. So maybe I just wanted to share based on those issues that have been raised. Maybe others can also add. Yeah, please. He's waiting and then we.
Myself, Dr. Sudhir Kumar from Veterinary University, Chennai. I just want to add a word that sustainability is important. In that case, I would like to see that the ICT tool created should be more dynamic. Most of the tools are static, that is why the information gets redundant and people are not in use. If the data is dynamic and it is useful for the end user and market, something like linking a market or end user and a producer, probably the use of the tool will be better. That's what I want to say.
And then we'll come there.
Yeah, my name is Susanta. I have a question from the bank. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Now, from my understanding of venture capital in the West, you have different stages. First, you have an angel investor, and the venture capitalist bets on about 10 or 50 and one wins. Is that the model that you go by, or do you sort of finance everybody?
We do not finance everybody. If you ask me, grassroots innovators, where the innovator is at ideating stage. Bankers are not going to look into such proposals. from SIDBI side, so we have given a support to, the micro venture innovation fund, which is a corpus support, not having any strings attached to it, no cost expectations are there from our side. But this money has been placed with, micro venture innovation fund. Now they are, when they are carrying out their show yatras, they are, documenting it, they are registering the innovators, what kind of effort he is putting into that. At that point of time, also certain amount of expenditure, capital expenditure is involved. Now, who is going to incur that expenditure? That he is a poor person, so he is not having means to meet both the ends. And on top of that, if we are expecting that he is going to spare another 5,000, 10,000, it could be a smaller amount for you and me. But a person who is having even he is not having, say, a regular employment, he could be a farmer or say laborer or kind of thing, or rickshaw puller for that matter. Now, for him, 5,000, 10,000 rupees is a big amount, which is going to be spent, and even he is not very sure whether this machine or tool or implement is going to work. So, for that, say commitment from our side is that we have given corpus support, and that such kind of ventures are going to be funded out of that. If you are expecting that, say somebody is going to go with an idea to a bank and then get it funded, it is not going to happen, and is not happening world over. Nobody is going to finance idea as a commercial venture. Okay. Now thing is that there are stages. Then once, say if idea is successful, the stage of commercialization, say from pilot scale to commercial scale, if something is to be done, yes, again, say from SIDBI side, we have established incubation centers. Like say huge IT incubation center we have set up in IIT Kanpur. So that is dedicated for, say IT related innovations, or that is from up to pilot scale. Now from there, if somebody is happy with pilot scale success and now he wants to go for commercialization of it, then yes, then venture capital companies are going to come into play. And once venture capital companies are happy with, say whatever investments they are making, if that proves to be successful, then yes, commercial bankers are going to come into play. These are the stages how, say funding takes place.
Yeah, I think with the investors, it's also quite interesting. I like the question about what are the stages, the typical stages, and it looks like the investors or the banks, they always only finance ideas. But since grassroots innovation is really rooted and it's coming from society, I think, which is a platform overall. I think also the investments and the bankers and the people who are behind that money should invest in platforms. And currently, I'm actually participating in that. What we are developing right now is a co-factory in Europe, which is really a platform where we take up innovations, but we also take up people in order to create these innovations. We facilitate these ideas and people that are going in there to a certain stage, and the investors are actually investing in the platform in order to have this risk distribution. It's kind of an incubation model. So it's actually coming to your point of share. It's always give and take, right? How can we structure also the investment of grassroots innovation in a different way and not go directly, because then the banks of course need to have a different outcome and a different game.
I have a quick follow-up question to both of your comments. And so for both of you, thanks for your comments. It was very interesting. For the finance side, can you guys talk a little bit about the architecture? So I think that it's oftentimes that we talk about partnerships, platforms, and alliances, and then when it actually gets down to the nitty-gritty of how actually a platform is actually run, and also when you talk about making the decision, we decide that that an idea is good, so we decide to go forward. Like the steps in between, from like stage one of the ideation to proof of concept, and then proof of concept to scale. The thresholds in the finance side are very specific. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what the thresholds are, especially for people here who are interested in actually getting private sector financing, to to say, you know, I mean, because usually there are like very kind of strict thresholds that it needs to produce this, you know, this percent of profit within this many years or whatever. And then the second question to you about, you know, when we create a platform and there is kind of a common cause of funding innovations, then is it the private sector who actually puts money into a common pool, and then how does the decisions get made, the architecture?
Yeah. See, as far as you know, architecture is concerned, you know, so when the venture is at ideating stage, or you know, say if say concept is being tested, at that point of time, again, this I am sharing my experience of working with the Micro Venture Innovation Fund. You know, say now we do not have any specified ticket size or threshold limits for. You know, say some of ventures where we have funded something like 10,000 Indian rupees or 15,000 Indian rupees. In some of the cases, you know, say we have given even 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs kind of money. When we are operating, you know, we are talking of grassroots, you know, innovations. I think we need to be, you know, we need to get a bit flexible. And you know, say then another issue is that we are dealing with the people who are not very sure about, you know, documentation part of it, economics part of it. They are not sure about that. We are supposed to, you know, say give hand-holding support to them. Now, if I am going to have a, you know, say set of rules that okay, my threshold is 10,000 rupees. If you are okay with that, you do innovate. Otherwise, go back to your home. Nothing like that. Now, see again I am sharing my experience with this venture fund again. What we are doing that, you know, in some of the activities we are doing repeat funding. One dose we have given, certain amount of success was there, certain failures were there. Still we are not very sure that, you know, say we are going to test the concept. We are not sure. So we have given second round, third round of funding, and with each dose, you know, we are increasing the dosage as well as. So we are looking that if, you know, say we tried with one machine or two machines, if we are helping him to develop 10 machines, you know, say what is going to be the feedback from the market. How, you know, say if 10 machines are simultaneously rolled out in the market, and what kind of results they are fetching, what is the success rate, what kind of economics is working out, then it goes to different territories. So these are the issues, and so far as ideating stage and up to concept stage is concerned, we are not having any threshold limits. Now, if you are asking me from my institution side, you know, say if any commercially viable technology is there which has been successfully tested and you know, say validated, up to, you know, say 1 crore of startup assistance we can give from our institution side. That we are talking of those proven technologies which are now at least ready for commercializations. So these are again, you know, say I am talking of startups. These are pure startups. So for any startup, I think if commitment is there from formal sector for giving financial assistance up to 1 crore rupees. So from Indian standards, I think that is very good enough.
Just going quickly answering the second part of the question. just from the structures that we are working on right now, how incubations also, I think the incubation models are managed. And what we are trying right now is actually, first of all, we don't believe that the idea stage should be the first stage. The first stage should actually be what we heard before, the need stage. So we are in that platform already investing in teams to identify the right needs. That's the first step where the money should actually come into, which is quite interesting, I think, as a different approach. And then we are, you know, since investors are investing in the platform, we then pull them in again with a result. And we look at the result and what the outcome really is and who is it for. So for example, if it's an idea which was developed like grassroots in a village, you know, based on a certain need in that village, and the idea that is the outcome is also applicable in that village or like on that basis, then of course we will also go to big investors, but we would definitely go for co-financing. So we would bring it out to the people. We say like, who wants to invest here in the village as well as in other villages? if the idea that comes out is maybe something that you can apply worldwide, or you can make a product and sell it commercially big, somewhere else, we would only go for an investor. So it's always on the international investor. So it's always dependent on the outcome, and then we look like what would be the right financing model, and how can we actually go on with that. We had some more questions.
Actually, what I wanted to speak about went back, but I would like to react to the current kind of discussion on the finance. First question is, I would like to know who is the investor and what is that investor stake. And I am very suspicious of if that investor stake is only money and interest, because then whatever the innovation is only calculated in terms of rupees, or worse still if it's dollars or yen or whatever. Because what I find, C.K. Prahlad is looking at the bottom of the pyramid and saying, hey, there's a lot of money there, let's pull it out. So I'd like to look for a platform where the stakeholders are at the same level as the people who are going to be the beneficiaries as well as the inventor. And there are models. There are LEDS models, the exchange models, there are advanced credit models, there is barter models. I mean, if the requirement of somebody in a rural area is food, good house, travel or whatever, they can get it from everybody else in exchange. What you need is a knowledge system, knowledge exchange system, and a management system of finding out who owes what to whom. And this is where I am saying that almost half the people from India here actually have backgrounds in rural areas. And they come to IIMs or they come into these big institutions and they are paid well here, whereas they could be very well paid well by an alternative model. And so therefore when we are talking of a platform which, say, Honeybee has to kind of develop, I would like to see those kind of platforms thought of and think. And those which are financed by local people would stand a better chance. Not only that, whatever profits you make or whatever surpluses you make from it tend to get back into the community. And that is the whole tragedy that we had in the SKS microfinance model, where interest rates of up to 26–28% was being taken out of villages of Andhra, and you found people getting poorer and poorer. Of course, money lenders were charging 120% and things like that before that. So yes, I think this needs a base approach is required, finance approach is required, and definitely a model is required. I just go back, since my field is more ICT and information, somebody spoke about dynamic information and dynamic databases or front ends, and front ends which rely on dynamic databases. I've been working with dynamic databases, and I find that by and large, most information is decided by algorithms. The computer professor would, or the engineer, would just decide and take all the paths away from you. The Google decides what is relevant and how it works it out, and then gives you a listing which possibly does not work for you. And therefore we need to do something which, yes,